Let's turn now to our Vice President of Europe, Aidan O'Hare. You know, there's been a lot of buzz about the incredibly successful rally that took place in London this last year, the European rally. What can you tell us about your experience there?
Well, as you know, Paul, it was an amazing time. We had over 10,000 people. We sold out at the Wembley Arena there in London, and what a great event it was to be together with all of the European distributors. Let me tell you a little bit more about what happened that day. The 2010 rally in London was incredible, but it's also been an incredible year throughout the EU, with records being set and new standards being achieved across the entire region. We also recognize that some of you, it's been a little bit tough going, but the key is, remember, keep fighting. 2011 is going to be a remarkable year, and we know that your efforts and patience will pay off. As Paul did mention, the real highlight for me was the Super Rally, and the ability to attend that meeting in London, England. And as they say in the UK, it was brilliant. Rex, Greg, Karen and I celebrated with over 10,000 of you as you were rewarded for your move-ups and other forever accomplishments. We also awarded over 6.2 million euros. That's a massive $8.2 million to people just like you who satisfied the requirements of profit sharing. Attending events is, I believe, one of the most important things that we can do to make sure we stay excited and motivated as we build our business. Building a strong and sustainable business in forever is not easy, and it takes effort and hard work to get things started and maintained. But are these efforts worth it? Of course they are, as the rewards far outweigh the investment required. But all of this hard work and effort will take its toll if you do not refresh yourself. Picture a piece of wood or coal as it sits in the fire. It burns hot and bright, and it pulls heat from all the other coals and logs that surround it. We are just like that piece of wood. We gain strength and support and energy from one another as we gather together. But what happens if we pull that piece of wood from the fire? For some time, the wood will remain hot, and slowly it will begin to cool, and over time will become increasingly cooler until it's completely cold. The interesting part of this is at first you do not recognize a change. Sure, the hot flames are gone, but the wood still gives some heat. But without warning, all of a sudden, it's completely cold. We can be compared to that piece of wood if we stay away from the forever fire for too long. We must put ourselves back into the warming heat that will ignite our passion and move us to the next level. Attendance at the Forever meetings does this for us. We surround ourselves with like-minded, positive people who are facing the same challenges that we are. At these meetings, we receive training, new information, and motivation that reinforces and reignites our belief. It sets us alight again. At Forever events, you will see people just like you that are achieving what you've always dreamed of achieving. And you will quickly realize that you too can make your dreams come true. Let me give you a real-life example of the power of attending events. Some of you will recall a couple, Serge and Ronaldo Poulet, who spoke at the European Rally in London. They are from Belgium, and they had a very moving and powerful story to tell us about overcoming financial devastation as their chicken farming business collapsed. After the loss of their business, they turned to Forever as a source of income, to basically get by and to put a roof over their heads. But they worked hard and have built a much better life for themselves and their children. This is a great story in itself, and they did a fantastic job sharing it with us when we were in London together. And I'm confident that it had a positive effect on the 10,000 or so that were there. So after their great speech, I thought I would check back with them and ask if attending the rally had any effect on them. The first thing they told me, speaking at the rally was a terrifying ordeal. As you can imagine, going from a chicken farmer to speaking in front of thousands was a bit of a transition. But what was interesting is what Serge explained to me. He told me as he was speaking on stage and telling his story, it began to dawn on him that they were setting their sights too low and they could achieve so much more. And as they attended the next couple of days of meetings, this realization continued to solidify, and they committed to set new goals and aim a little bit higher. So what have they achieved? Was this change of heart borne out in their reality? Well, since the European Rally, they have broken their first downline manager, qualified for level 2 of the earned incentive, qualified already for the Super Rally, qualified for profit share, and they're looking at a pretty sizable check. And finally, they've increased their volume by over 10%. And of course, when the volume goes up, the check goes up as well. They match. They've also been an integral part in the turnaround of the Benelux market. And Belgium alone is up 12% this year. And that wonderful couple have had a direct impact of that. Now, attending the events will not do all of the work for you. As Serge and Ronaldo, they had to go home and get to work. But the change of heart that necessitates changes in behavior happened while attending the rally. The rallies are not the only event that will help them and all of us. There are local and regional events all over the world that will build your belief in our industry, our company, our products. But most of all, it will build your belief in yourself. I'll see you on stage. Good luck and Merry Christmas.
Things are certainly buzzing in Europe. You know, to keep things buzzing in a company the size of Forever, you need the right person minding the till, as they say. And to keep our financial house in order, we have our very own Senior Vice President of Finance, Dave Hall.
Good morning, Paul.
Thanks for being here, Dave.
You know, in these tough economic times that we're having, it's kind of been a boom for Forever. With lots of bankruptcies and companies closing, there's been a lot of individuals looking for the next opportunity, and I think Forever provides that to them. So we've been able to add to our tremendous distributor base. With that, at night, going home, I know when the doors are shut, the doors are going to be open again in the morning.
Thank you, Dave. I'd like to now turn to two of the most experienced MLMers in the business. My good friend Harold Green, the Senior Vice President of Sales in Canada, and the Senior Vice President of U.S. Sales, Carl Zander. Harold, what can you tell us about the importance of setting goals in this business?
Setting goals? I would say if you're not setting goals in this business, you're in trouble. Now is definitely the time to set goals. Goals give you purpose, they give you direction, they give you commitment. In Forever Living on MyFLP Biz, if you've noticed lately, they have a site that actually helps the distributors to set goals. We have what we call the Dream Book, right, Carl?
That's right.
Yeah, tremendous tool in setting your goals. I can remember the first big goal that I had in 1980. We worked very hard that year. My wife and I wanted a new car. And back then, Carl, it took 6 months to qualify for a car. A little bit more than what it is today. We did. We qualified. A 1980 Mark IV Continental. We were excited. Not only us, but our whole area was excited over that. Carl, I know you're a goal-setting person. In fact, your whole life has been that way. What do you feel about goals?
That is true, Harold. You know, one thing about goals is right now is the best time to start them because the year is over. What you did last year in 2010, right. It doesn't matter. Good, bad, or indifferent, it doesn't matter. It's what you're going to do in 2011 that's important. I remember, just to give you a little analogy here, back in 1987 when I was playing for the Cincinnati Bengals, we had a team that we thought was going to be in the playoffs. And you know what? We had a terrible year. Won 3 games the whole year. We're 3-13, I believe. After that year, they were talking about the coaches getting fired, everything. Well, we retained the coaches, we focused, we set some goals. Our goal was we were going to finish everything. Every play, every practice play, every game right down to the last second. I can remember that finish everything, meaning that every time a running back touched the football in practice, he crossed the end zone. He ran, whether it was 5 yards or 100 yards, he ran to score. And we took off. We were 7-0 that year. It ended up being a phenomenal year. I want to talk to you distributors today about 5 keys to making your goals become a reality. First of all, as we know, Harold, we've got to write them down. This takes them from just being a dream to making them into an actual goal. Next, to increase our accountability, share them with others because we fear failure more than we fear anything in the world. So if we show them to others, now we have to be a little more accountable. They got to be a little more realistic, and we've got to be really willing to work to make them happen. That's where commitment comes in. You've got to make a commitment. You know, it's going to take time. If you're watching 40 hours of TV every week, you're going to have to stop watching 40 hours of TV and spend part of that time on building your business. Next, number 4, I want you to plan your next 90 days. Break your goal for the whole year into 90-day segments and break those 90-day segments into little small steps that you can achieve one day at a time. This becomes your daily tasks. And if you do your daily tasks of maybe talking to 2 distributors or 2 potentially new distributors every day about the product or the opportunity, in 30 days it will become a habit and you will become habitual about talking to others and growing your business. And last but not least, a lot of people come up with great plans, but they never put them in action. Oh, next week I'm going to do this. Next week I'm going to do that. No, you've got to take that plan and put it in action today. Start your plan today and make it start happening. With that, your goals will become a reality with no limits for the future.
So how about we jump now to Senior Vice President of Sales in Latin America, Garen Breinholt. So Garen, what can you tell us, or what can you update us about the incredible success Forever is having in Latin America?
Well, you know, this year it's been kind of incredible if we look at some of the countries that have had their record years, you know, countries such as Bolivia, Argentina, and Peru. But I'm sure most everyone's asking about and heard about, if not felt about, the excitement in Brazil. You know, I've had the opportunity to visit Brazil several times this year, and each time I'm impressed with their growth, but more impressed with their commitment to helping others.
So you just recently returned from Brazil, is that correct?
Yep, just got back.
What did you experience in that trip there?
This past month, I had the opportunity to travel to many different states within Brazil and meet with nearly 20,000 distributors. As I was traveling, I began to recall my first visit to Brazil nearly 12 years ago. In this first visit, I remember attending a managers meeting in Sao Paulo with 5 or 6 distributors and our country manager, Fernando. I remember thinking that, wow, we have a long way to go. Well, after all these years, it is quite incredible to think of where Forever Brazil is today. Greg and I had the opportunity to participate in a managers meeting last month in Sao Paulo, but this time with more than 700 managers. What a powerful meeting. Distributors were beaming from ear to ear because of what Forever means to them and because of what they have been able to achieve with Forever. During this visit, I also had the opportunity to visit the city of Curitiba, which is in the state of Paraná. Curitiba has a population which is less than 2 million people, which in Brazil is somewhat small compared to so many large cities. When we arrived there, we went straight to a success date with more than 3,000 distributors. Today, our branch in Curitiba is selling more than 10,000 case credits per month. Many people ask me, what is different in Brazil from so many other places around the world? My reply always is that they have the same products, the same marketing plan, the same opportunity. But I think one of the most powerful tools they use is belief. They believe in the products. They believe in the marketing plan. They believe in the opportunity. They believe in Forever. But most importantly, they believe in themselves. When I think of the power of belief, I think of my visit to Curitiba and what the distributors there have been able to accomplish. While there, I had the opportunity to visit with one of the top distributors in all of Brazil, Luciano, who is in his 20s and in just 4 years has achieved things that many of us just dream of. The difference between Luciano and so many others is his belief in his dreams and his belief in himself. There is no doubt that because of his belief, we will be hearing a lot about Luciano in the near future. So ask yourself, what do you believe? What message are you transmitting to others? Your level of belief will determine your level of results. So why do so many believe in Forever? Because Forever is founded on solid principles, principles such as honesty and integrity, principles that should be the foundation of our Forever business. They, like myself, know that there are many opportunities, but only one Forever, our Forever. What has happened and is happening in Brazil is not limited to Brazil. The only limits we have are the ones we place on ourselves. We all have the opportunity to experience great things with Forever. Together, let's make 2011 our best year ever. Have a great new year.